Welp, people have asked me to make this, so we're going to do it. Quick note, this style will only be talking specifically for human characters and not locomotives since I use MS Paint to use the shape tools for those. Hello guys. Today, I'm going to be doing a video tutorial on how you can accurately replicate my art style to near perfection. It's pretty simple, and you can do it in a few ways that I'll demonstrate and tell you later on as we continue. I'll be doing human characters for this tutorial, and then I'll do another video on Steam engines when I have the chance since I do them differently than my other characters. Anyway, let's get right into the video. A few things I want to point out is that if you want to replicate my art style to its highest accuracy, then I suggest getting Adobe Animate since not only do I use the app to draw my original characters, specifically humans since I don't draw trains on this app, but the steps for this may not apply to the other apps you prefer using. And I don't usually draw them from scratch when I have other characters I can use as reference, and that's just something I tend to do more often, usually just the head, facial structure, and the pupils. If you need to trace over some of the characters to match the proportions, I will not be upset by this, and I'll even give you access to the characters and the FLA files for reference. Again, that's if you're going to use Adobe Animate. Otherwise, the FLA files mean nothing. So the first step on how I draw my characters is to start with the head shape first. So we're going to try and draw a good circle to the best of our ability. For me, I sometimes have to take pauses during the process so I don't mess up the curvature I got going already, and sometimes I'll try to do it all at once. Doesn't really matter, but what I mainly do afterwards is split the circle in half, copy that side, flip it, and then make the circle less messy. It doesn't really matter what side, but it mainly depends on what side of the circle looks better. One thing I will say for this part is that you should draw the head with the brush at size 12 for this. To prevent me from repeating myself, just think size 12 for outer lines and size 9 for inner lines. Size 9 isn't always absolute. You can do between 6-8 if you want, but 9 is typically recommended for at least most of the body. You can go size 6 if you're doing more inner lines and drawings within the drawings using the size 9 brush. This circle right here that's been drawn is not very ideal and isn't necessarily good for what it is, but I'll put away my perfectionism and try to make it work for the sake of this tutorial. Next, we draw the face itself, or at the very least draw the eyeballs first. So we're going to draw a line that's close to the middle as possible, and then we're going to draw another circle using the brush size at 9. By the way, it's important to know that having parts of your drawings like the head shape and the eyes should be different colors. That way you don't have to erase those line detail parts of the drawing that won't show up in the final version. Also, make sure you at least have one copy of the drawings you have so you don't have to go back multiple steps to fix any issue you're facing. Now that we're done with the eyeballs, let's get to the hair portion. Now, however you want to draw your hair for your own character, I won't dictate how you draw it since hair designs are not really crucial in of itself of being accurate. But there are a few details when it comes to drawing hair pieces that can be crucial to mimicking the style, like what I'm drawing for example. The front hairs sticking out will pass outside the head, and then curve back into the shape to give the illusion that the front hairs are in front and not within. It's not for all characters, but for this example, it is important to note. Now for the back hair, we'll do another line that will stay in the middle like the face line, but it'll move up to the top of the head where you can center the back hair for this character. Now you can do a few things here. You can have it be flat, or it can curve to resemble sort of like a butt shape, and make your way down till you're closer to the neck part of the body. Before we fully complete the entire hair, for the side hairs, I typically curve it around the eyes, and then either go straight down until it passes the perimeter of the head shape, or I can curve it off to the side like the hair is pulled back and not long. Speaking of which, we should draw it in order to finish the hair. Now I used to draw the neck like this for a while, but then I realized that it doesn't really look good because it's not really centered or lopsided just from looking at it. So what I do is that I make a new layer for the neck, start from the bottom left side of the right eye, and then curve the line down until I have a short visible neck. Copy that line, flip it, and line it up with the bottom right side of the left eye. Adjust it a bit if you want, and then boom. You now have a neck, and now you can finish the rest of your hair. The neck I drew is, again, not very ideal to how I usually draw necks, but again, we'll make it work. Now comes the shoulders and part of the body, which are the sides. If you don't know what I meant there, just look at the video and see what's being drawn to understand what I mean. Now, because the neck is wide and the body curves a bit outward, The character is going to have a wide, chunky body. Same rule would apply depending on how spread apart the drawings of the neck piece they are, so a less wider neck would make the body not as wide. When I'm using other characters for reference size, I draw at least 2 horizontal lines like these. The bottom one being the bottom of the foot, while the line on top would be for the top portion of the foot where it meets with the leg, but we're just going to draw it from scratch to get an idea on what it would look like if you didn't have any references. Draw a line vertical and close to the middle of the body as you can, and have it position a bit down to where it passes the lines of the body just a bit, and the top part of the line is somewhere half down the body for the crotch area. For the brush size, do 9 for this. Moving past this, now let's draw the feet. Start from the middle line, and either go to the left or right of the foot. Curve down a bit, not too much, and not too little, and then when you pass the body line, curve it back around until you connect it back to the body. Again, if you're using different colors, then you don't need to erase to make it easier, but we're going to copy that foot line, assuming you've done it in a different color that goes over the body line and not behind it, and repeat the process with the other side of the body line. Now let's move back to the arms real quick, and then we'll finish up the body. Depending on your character's clothing, the shoulders will either curve and go straight down, or they stop around the top part of the body and draw another line towards it to make it resemble a t-shirt. Draw the arm down until you've reached halfway, and curve towards the body. Draw fingers inside the arms, and then boom. Most of the body is now complete. Now all what's left to do is finish the face we started earlier with a mouth expression. Depends on the character's personality, and a pointy or round nose. I say this because when I draw characters who are black, I curve the nose to make them very tiny bit different from the others, but everything else will largely stay the same. Color all of your lines black, and if you want to remove the eyes later and fix them, set both RG and B to 1, and it'll still be black, but it won't select the entire body. Now copy the shape of the pupil to an oval shape, but don't smooth it out because it won't look authentic to the style. Trust me, it will stand out. If you have a reference character and can change parts of the FLA file, then just copy the pupil and put it inside the eyeball, and then copy-paste the other pupil into the other eyeball, and line it up neatly if you want them to look straight at your face. You can do derpy characters with the pupils not being aligned and straight, and that'll not change how the style looks really. Now add the colors to the character. It can be whatever color you want, especially if you're just going to copy the color palette for my style, but I recommend not having a bunch of bright colors since it can make the character look visually unpleasing. And there you go, you've made your OC, or the character on screen, using all that I've said in this video. Now, of course, I didn't explain 100% of it since I know I may have unintentionally forgot to clarify on certain details, so you may or may not need to go back and fix something if you want to be fully accurate to the style. Just ask me anything for better tips and feedback if you need help. Just remember that not everything is perfect, and I won't ridicule your art for what it is. If you manage to nearly pull it off, then that's still really good, and you should be proud for putting all of that effort into it. Like I said earlier, I'll link a Google Drive of all of the characters and the FLA files if you need them to help replicate my style much better, and you can even toy around with them if you want. The only negative for me is that I'm going to have to create a watermark that nobody can just easily replicate to make sure if somebody were to copy my style, I have proof that it's not from me, and you'll know which ones I actually drew. That's really about it for today. Hopefully you found this really helpful, and as I said, make sure to ask further questions if you're still confused and or lost on parts of the tutorial. Have a good day.